Welcome to Bamford Rose and another question of the week. In this week's question of the week, it is Bamford Rose expensive for clutches? And does Bamford Rose leave bolts loose? This week's question of the week was brought to us by absolutely clueless keyboard warriors. So stay tuned and we'll answer both of those questions. Flipping through social media, I saw this lovely post of a car. It's a blue V8 Vantage and it says next week on Friday I go to Bamford Rose to get the twin plate clutch, lightweight flywheel and software upgrade for my Sport Shift 2 Vantage S. And after such a post like that, along come the keyboard warriors. This particular post raises two interesting points. One of them says, BR are very expensive for clutches, and if mine's anything to go by, loose nuts and bolts. I'd be very careful. One poster then comes on and says, my V8 Vantage manual has the Bamford Rose manifold, secondary cat upgrade, as well as the twin plate clutch. The clutch was £3,600 including fitting and VAT. That was 4 years ago, so have their prices gone up a lot since then? Then another garage comes on, pimping themselves for work, and says, our ASM twin plate kit is £2,995 plus VAT including fitting, which is £3,600, which was what our price was 4 years ago, and just proves the keyboard warriors that posted previously have got no clue what they're talking about. Now, if you fit the twin plate clutch upgrade, maybe it's the AMR kit or maybe it is a different aftermarket kit, and that's going on a manual, there's relatively little that could go wrong with that. Each individual car, they're all a little bit different. You might find a car that just needs some clever calibration to stop a stall or a couple of other drivability issues, which is very individual to that particular car and is not the same for other cars. So you're gonna need eventually to do a little bit of bespoke mapping on a couple of cars. Now, like Bamford Rose, that's all done in-house. And even if someone wants their drivability tweaking a little bit better for them, maybe they want better heel and toe, then I can sit down with the customer, I can be in the passenger seat, I can look at the pedal prod, the press, the counts that they're getting on the pedal, and I can calibrate their car individually to them so that they get perfect heel and toe, perfect throttle blipping. Now that's because I can do that data logging, I can look at that data, I can change the calibration immediately and I can flash it back into the ECU. We can go for a drive and we can check that that all works okay. If it doesn't, another tweak is needed. Make it blip a little bit more for the same amount of pedal press to get that perfect heel and toe gear shift, then I can do that. Any garage in the Aston Martin world will be getting their software from another party. That means that they can't do that same activity of understanding exactly how one particular car is driving, make bespoke changes to that, test it in the moment. They're going to have to send their request off to a third party that does their software for them. They make those changes. Typically that request is going to be subject to a time difference because they're not even in the same continent as that garage, and flash that back down to the car. Did it work? Yes or no? Oh, it's not. Repeat that whole process of sending the file back off to the third party company, and eventually maybe they might end up with some software that works. And just as this post states here, Bamford claims they are one of the few that can program the double clutch in the right way for the Sport Shift gearbox. Is that not the case? And yes, that is the case, because I can sit down with each individual car. If there is a problem, if there is a slight issue on the Sport Shift gearbox that needs a little bit of a different engine management system calibration, a little bit of a trans calibration difference, then I can do that in the moment on that car, make the changes, go and drive it. Did it work? Give it back to customer. That cannot be done anywhere else. So there were plenty of other comments on this thread, which said to the poster, well, you're in Netherlands, why are you driving so far to Bamford Rose? Well, what those keyboard warriors don't realise is that Bamford Rose has an army of European customers. Now, we don't speak every language, we managed to struggle ourselves through, and what's happened over the years is that one by one, whether it's Germany, France, Netherlands, Spain, we've had customers that have come here for the Sport Shift upgrade because they can't get it anywhere else. They certainly can't get it in territory because you've only got franchise dealers in those markets and they won't fit the twin plate clutch to a Sport Shift car. So they've come all the way here, enjoyed a long weekend in Stratford-upon-Avon, and we've fettled their car to perfection and they've driven back off with a twin plate clutch in their Sport Shift car. So that's created a bit of a snowball effect. We've done a couple of jobs. These guys, these owners have been talking on those forums and all of a sudden we get many, many more bookings. So this car here is yet another from Netherlands that's coming here because everyone from Netherlands that's come here to have our clutch upgrade has gone back with an absolutely perfect driving car. We then go back to the second half of one keyboard warrior's post where he said, and if mine's anything to go by, with loose nuts and bolts they'll leave. I'd be very careful. Again, more keyboard warrior comments without one clue about the realities of how these cars behave. If you go through a few previous posts of this particular owner, then it turns out that he's got a car new to him, which has come here a couple of times, once for a clutch and once for a service. Looking at his posts, he had to change his aircon condenser because the aircon wasn't working. I've looked through the service sheets and that car had deferred maintenance discs and pads and it had deferred maintenance aircon compressor. We never noted down that the condenser was leaking, so if you think that you needed to get your aircon working because you need a new condenser, then you might want to look at the compressor. In the course of changing his aircon condenser, then he found a stray bolt on the undertray. That's led him then to sensationalise that one stray bolt turns into bolts and bolts turns into nuts and then that turns into everything on the car. The particular bolt that was found astray on this car's undertray is a bolt that if you work on hundreds of these cars like we do, then from time to time you're going to take off the undertray and you are going to see this bolt, or many of them, just loosely jingling around on the top of the undersurface tray. But this keyboard warrior doesn't know the realities of the car, doesn't know that those bolts are susceptible to failing, and then goes and tells all and sundry that we leave bolts loose. So this is an airbox assembly. And the hole where the blue arrow is going in is where dirty air goes, that faces forwards. You can see the green arrow is where clean air comes out, and that goes to the tube that goes to the throttle. Now the plastic on this airbox deteriorates badly with age, so it becomes brittle and it's very easy to crack. So when it cracks, two things happen. The red circle there is a mounting lug and it's very, very easy for that to break off, which is why you find quite a lot of airboxes just jangling around in the area in which they're mounted. But that blue arrow, the pipe that holds the dirty air pipe in place, and the green arrow, the pipe that holds the clean air in place, that sort of does do a good job of keeping the airbox in place even if the mounting lugs are broken. We then flip over the airbox, and from the underside you can see, I've circled red here, all of the underside cover lid bolts that mate that lid to the main body of the airbox. Now it's one of these bolts which this poster has found on his undertray, and if you work on enough of these cars then this is a bolt that you see commonly on undertrays. The reason why is if we flip to the next picture, you can see a bolt there that is working its way out, because when we flip to the next picture, circled yellow, these are the mounting lugs which that bolt screws into. So we've just discussed that plastic airbox deteriorates badly with age, becomes brittle, easy to crack, and what happens is those mounting lugs actually break off. So you're either going to have the bolt not actually doing anything because it's no longer tightening the lid to the main body, or the bolt completely falls out of that lug. Now, it's just a self-tapper that goes into that lug. There isn't any insert to make the fixing robust. So either broken lugs or bolts which come out of the lug without an insert in. Very, very common to see those floating around on the undertray. If they were done up too tightly, then it risks what happened to this airbox, which is why we have it spare. We had to remove it from a car. Someone had over tightened that bolt up, and because of the brittle plastic, it cracked the lid. So, following the trend of a load of Netherlands customers before him, this chap was very proud to come to us for our expertise. Yet keyboard warriors who've got no clue what they're talking about have said, well, we're very expensive for clutches. Well, in the data that's on that post, no, we're not. It's exactly the same price, and it's been that price for 4 years. And it's the same price as the competitors. But when we look at the competitors' product, they've famously cheapened the kit. But what that's done is reduced quality. If we look at our flywheel here, we can see that it's the same as it ever was, a completely machined from billet in one piece flywheel. Now, one reason competitors have been able to cheapen the price of their kit off is because the starter ring around the circumference of that flywheel is now sort of heat shrunk and then welded onto the flywheel. It's not one complete machining from a piece of billet. Now, way back when, in about 2006, when the factory released the first N24 Nürburgring GT4 race cars, that design was what the factory did. But they quickly revised that because they got cracking, and that starter ring gear was cracking off the main body of the flywheel. So, whilst competitors may have reduced price, but they've kept the sale price the same, they've reduced their costs so they make more money, they've reduced the quality and risked longevity for the customer. And if going somewhere else risks component quality, then nobody will match my remapping, and the car, as a result, might not drive as good as what it could if it came here and had my mapping. All because some keyboard warrior who doesn't know the realities of these cars has put the guy off coming here. Now, not just those air filter bolts, there's a few other fixings across the car that haven't really been designed with deterioration and age in mind. Now, I could start a whole video series about this. One common one would be speed clips on wheel arch liners, under surface trays, and the beauty cover that goes on the front of the engine, what you see when you lift up the bonnet. Now, I'll just picture quickly some of those fixings so you get an idea. Here you can see me holding this fixing to the left of my index finger there. You can see the bonnet release. So what's in my hand is the speed clip in the middle for the beauty cover. So what happens is the fixing corrodes itself into the speed clip, and no matter how gingerly and carefully you try and undo that, you will end up ripping the speed fixing out of the plastic and snapping the plastic. Another common fixing on the same beauty cover will be this one, which is just in front of the engine radiator and the aircon condenser there. Again, that bolt will rip itself out of the speed clip and rip the speed clip out of the plastic. So that will happen to franchise dealer, independent or DIY mechanic. There's very little you can do to prevent that sort of fixing ripping itself out of plastic covers. But that's the good and the bad of the internet. You show me an internet forum and I'll show you a keyboard warrior without two brain cells to rub together.